Hey everyone, so as I mentioned in my previous video about contact tracing, there are a number of reasons as to why a contact tracing app hasn't been rolled out across the country, and there's also a few reasons as to why some provinces haven't implemented a contact tracing app. That's because of political reasons, jurisdictional reasons, and even ethical issues. So ethical issues is probably the most pertinent topic that I want to talk about in today's video. And probably the largest issue that people have with the contact tracing apps that are being proposed is that there's just not enough information on whether our information is going to be protected if said app does become available in, let's say, Ontario. Like, how do we know that the data that the phone logs from people that pass by us is encrypted? How do we know that that information is stored on our devices and then not sent to some governmental database? Are people going to be mandated to download a contact tracing app if it becomes available in their province or nationwide? Or is there going to be a sort of thing where you can choose if you want to download the app? Those debates are still being had right now on this whole topic of privacy and contact tracing. My thing is that when you look at the studies in other places that have rolled out contact tracing apps, such as in Singapore or even in the UK, there's a large segment of the population that haven't even downloaded the contact tracing apps that have been available to them. Like in Singapore, about only 20% of the population has downloaded the contact tracing app. And that leads to my next point, is that if you leave it up to people to download a contact tracing app, it's a good chance that most people are not going to bother because one, many people are just lazy. If they're given the choice to do something, let's be real, they're probably not going to bother. And then second of all, people are very, very concerned about big government. And I can actually understand that. Also, it has to be said that there are other options besides using the contact tracing app that are already in place. I believe in the country, we already have 200 human contact tracers. That involves actual volunteers who are calling people and tell you if you've been in contact with someone that had COVID-19 and tell you to self-quarantine and things of that nature. Even in the city of Camden, New Jersey, that program of human contact tracers, it actually did end up working in that city, because in the heyday of when COVID-19 broke out in that city of Camden, they were seeing about 260 cases of COVID-19 a day. When they started to hire more contact tracers to work with the public health officials, they were able to narrow down the cases to about 24 per day. So of course, human contact tracers, they do definitely work, but the only thing is that these people are stretched out very thin because they can deal with 16 to 20 cases per day. And when you're talking to someone on the phone, right, these contact tracers, they can spend about 45 minutes to an hour. So you could be working 16 to 20 hours per day. I say all this to say that I understand people who are open to the idea of a contact tracing app. But the problem with the contact tracing app is that if you mandate people to download the app, that's going to create a lot of, and this might sound hyperbolic, but I think it could possibly cause a civil unrest. So I don't necessarily think that would be a very smart decision if the Ontario government or even the federal government said that, you know what, we're going to mandate people to download a contact tracing app. Also, there was a UK study that said that in order for a contact tracing app to actually be effective, 60 to 80% of the population would need to download the app. I just don't see that many people downloading the app, to be honest, especially if they're given the choice to download it or not. I think the federal government should expand the federal contact tracing volunteers that we have in the country. But I do think people should be paid for this. This is a great employment opportunity. Many people have been furloughed. Many people have lost employment. Yeah, you could say CERB, but some people aren't able to receive those benefits. So I think that this is a great time for them to enact a program that can help people learn how to become contact tracers free of charge. And I hear that it's not even hard to train people to do this kind of job from what I've heard in the States. The whole app, we don't want to open the floodgates to that, because we've seen this in the past where there have been times of crisis and the government has used that as an excuse to overstep their boundaries and just to conduct warrantless spying. Let's say Bill C-59 that the Liberal government passed in 2017. It did improve some of the problems that was created by previous anti-terrorism legislation, but it also did create more problems too. Like, it still continued to have secret trials for people who are suspected of being involved in terrorism. That's obviously a problem because due process is a constitutionally protected right. Also, federal government has also allowed our secret agencies like CSIS, for example, to basically illegally intercept information or even to plant forged documents. So even though we hear about solutions that can possibly help to ameliorate the crises that we're going through, sometimes we should be hesitant to go down that path, because then it could just open up another can of worms. And in today's like increased surveillance society, I don't think that it makes more sense to give the government more, surveillance over our lives. I think that just hiring more people to do contact tracing programs, I think that would probably be the path of least resistance. And again, just hoping that people continue to do social distancing. Obviously that's hard as well too, because people are selfish and they can't stay at home and watch Ozark to help save their fellow neighbors, as we've seen. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Hopefully we get through this situation as quickly as possible. Again, thank you guys for watching. If you like what you see here and you want to see more, make sure to hit that like button, click on the subscribe button, and click on the bell so you never miss a notification. Peace out, guys.